Welcome to Realtors Unfiltered, where we pull back the curtain on the world of real estate. No fluff, no filters, just real stories, real advice, and the realities of buying, selling, and everything in between. This is your host, Enas Latif. Whether you're a client looking for your dream home or an agent seeking inspiration and insight, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. Welcome to Realtors Unfiltered. Today we're doing things a little bit different as I am going to be on the hot seat. I have with me here today Austyn Galmarini. Good morning, Austyn.
Hi.
How are you today?
I am doing great.
I'm a little excited, but a lot nervous with you being my interviewer today.
Don't be nervous.
But yeah, let's get the show started.
Okay. Well, then we're going to take it back to the very beginning. So let's start with your real origin story. How did you get involved in real estate here in Buffalo?
Oh, wow. I get asked that question often, honestly. And I will say it was almost on accident, but it wasn't. My husband and I were looking for a home. And we were younger, but we had worked hard, saved some money, and we were about to have our first baby. And when we were looking for a home, we would call. This is before... now I'm giving up my age, but this was before Google, before YouTube, anything like that. The buyer really, or me as a buyer, really didn't know how to go about it, what to expect, who do you call. So we started driving by neighborhoods that we liked and just calling people from the sign. And our experience was that a realtor will get back to us. They'll show us their home, the home that we called about, and typically it's their listing. That's how it used to be back in the day because we called them from the sign. And if we weren't interested to make an offer right away, we didn't experience, I'm not going to generalize because I don't know that all realtors behaved that way at that time, but we didn't experience a realtor that maybe took us aside, talked to us, asked us our wants and needs, try to help us, guide us through the process, tell us what to expect. None of that. And I think we were starting to get frustrated. And one day, driving home from one of the showings, my husband looked at me and he goes, "Even you could do a better job." I don't know if that was a compliment because I don't know what he meant by even you. But I was new here in the country and I struggled to speak English fluently at that time and all of that stuff. So maybe that's what he meant. I'm not sure. But I looked at him and I was like, you know what? I can. And I didn't really think about it much. A few days after, he finds an ad in the paper. It was actually a Hunt real estate ad. They were holding a breakfast seminar on starting your career in real estate. So he had cut it out from the paper and brought it home to me. And he goes, "Here, if you're interested, you should go to this." And I was like, I'll go to that. And honestly, that's how it began. And I never looked back since.
Well, when did you realize maybe you weren't just doing deals, but you were overall starting to build a business?
When did I realize that? There's not much training when you start in real estate, right? You get your license. It doesn't teach you much except some laws. And they're like, okay, here, go sell some houses. And they didn't really teach us that you got to treat it as a business and that you're an independent contractor. It could be bigger than just going to sell a home and that kind of stuff. So I would say it took me a few years to start realizing that, oh, this is a business. If I treat it as a business, if I work on my business plus work with clients, that's how I can grow. And I think it just naturally, organically happened. But when I started the team about 10 years ago is when I really understood how much this is a business. And I had to have accounting in place. I had to have marketing in place, all the things that any other business would have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So do you think learning about some of these mistakes that you made, what was that one mistake that came across that you realized, okay, I have to put a process in place to make sure this doesn't happen again?
Oh my God, so many.
What's one that sticks out that is probably your best advice that you'd give to anybody?
If you're a realtor starting out or just new, I would say the most important thing is to have a CRM. There's so many earlier sales and clients and people that I had met, served, all of that now I lost touch with. It's very difficult as your business grows to keep just a list of people. So I wish I invested in a CRM a lot sooner in my career. Yes.
Okay. Was there one early influence that you had? Maybe it's a mentor or a client or a friend that really changed the way that you operated?
Yes. Is it okay if I mention a name or? Yeah.
If you'd like, yeah.
Yeah. So again, I started in the business. I was younger. At that time, not a lot of young people were in the business. English was a little bit difficult for me. I mean, I spoke it, but not well. Maybe I was conscious about it myself. And the people I started with, we took the real estate course together. Some of us ended up in the same brokerage. I watched their career take off and them having sales, and I wasn't having any. And I was getting really discouraged and frustrated. So at that time, our branch leader, her name was Louise Van Wert. She sat me down to like a one-on-one meeting thing. And she said, listen, you can do this. It's just a confidence thing. Your English is fine. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're nervous about. And here's a list of for sale by owners. Go call them. And if you keep barking, somebody will listen. I was like, okay. So I took that to heart. I did what she said I should do. And I ended up with 4 listings that month. And honestly, my business started snowballing after that. That was the best advice. I wouldn't be here today
if it wasn't for that.
Yes.
You had mentioned coming over here and that English wasn't your first language. Tell me a little bit about the, I guess, struggles that you might have had with that. Also, maybe any clients that you may feel that don't speak English and how you can help them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good point. A lot of the struggles that I had is I didn't understand words or terminologies that the average person understood. Mm-hmm. For instance, one of the first things I was so confused about, I'm like, asphalt shingles on the roof. Who puts asphalt on a house? You know? So I had to learn a lot. And I had to take time, read contracts, read forms. And at that time, again, no Google. So I would use a dictionary it traveled with me everywhere, by the way. It was in my car. It was everywhere because whenever there was a word I didn't understand, I looked it up. I understood it so I can understand the context of things. So that was challenging. But it now made me someone who can have patience and maybe better understand someone else who's having difficulty expressing themselves in English. So, yeah, it definitely helped me help other people who were looking to buy or sell and were struggling to find someone to understand them. Yeah.
You have multiple designations listed on your bio, everything from GRI, CBR, relocation. What credential do you feel really changed your business and one that you would recommend to anybody looking to get?
Yeah, they're all important. I believe GRI to me was the most important. I feel it's like your master's degree in real estate. And it was challenging for me. So I'm very proud that I was able to obtain it. It did take me about 2 or 3 years, honestly, to obtain it because at that time I had little ones at home that I couldn't travel and leave. So I had to wait. GRI is actually a combination of multiple courses. And after each course, you had to pass that exam. And at the end of all the courses, you had to pass one big exam. Well, I had to wait for each course to come to town because I couldn't travel far for that. I couldn't be away from my children and overnight. The furthest I traveled for it would be Rochester or Syracuse. So I kept watching all the courses, how far they are from here. Can I go and come back in one day? So it was really challenging to get them all done. So I'm very proud of it.
Good. All right. Last question for this segment. If you could go back and coach your year 1 self, what would be the advice that you would give?
Well, I cried a lot the first year.
Same.
Yes. It would be to seek a mentor immediately, a mentor that is willing to teach you the ins and outs of the business, the ins and outs of dealing with people, and really follow their guidance. So I didn't have a mentor, and that was difficult.
All right. We are now going to shift into talking about your teams. And I'm saying teams plural because you do have a team here in Buffalo, New York, and you actually have a team that has started up in Tampa, Florida. So talk to me a little bit about your Buffalo team. When was the moment you decided you wanted to take on that challenge of being a team leader?
Honestly, I never decided that. In a way, I never really wanted that either. Teams were starting around me, and they were a thing, or starting to become a thing. And I didn't really understand it anyway. I always did my thing and didn't pay attention to what everybody else is doing. And at that time, I had a part-time assistant that would help me with paperwork. Because if you know me, you know I have zero patience to sit down and do paperwork. So that was awesome. But my business started growing organically and naturally on its own, and I found myself not being able to handle the volume of clients that I was, getting calls from to service and so forth. So I remember this girl in the office. Actually, our admin in the office, I went to her and I was like, I need some help with some open houses, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, there's this one girl that comes in and she seems like she's trying really hard and she seems like she has a good head on her shoulders. Maybe call her, see if she'll help you with open houses. I was like, great. So I called this girl. She helped me with some open houses. I was impressed by the way she came back and reported to me certain things, her feedback, some of the notes that she would bring up about the home itself, things like that. So when I had a few too many buyers to service, I called her and I said, hey, I'm not looking to start a team, but I can give you a few leads. Give me a referral fee. I want to still be involved in my clients. I just want to make sure they're serviced. I'm unable to split my time properly. And she said, good. I'm not looking to join a team. And I would say that was 11 years ago. And she's still on the team because it kind of organically grew from there.
And she is, as a team member, between the two of you, it's a very incredible duo filled with so much knowledge, and everything that you talked about her, it absolutely tracks because that's how she is.
She's definitely a better agent than me now. I sometimes learn from her, to be honest, but yes, she's pretty amazing.
In the past, when you're looking for team members, what is an attribute that stands out about the person that maybe is interviewing for the spot that makes you really interested in them?
Mm-hmm. One thing I can tell you I don't tolerate well is negative energy. Mm-hmm. It's just, I'm a positive, happy person, and I can't really deal with a lot of negative around me, or Debbie Downers, let's call them. Mm-hmm. It ruins my day. So I'm always more attracted to people that have good energy, positive energy. But the one thing that's most important to me is, are they going to treat my clients the way I would treat my clients? That's the most important thing to me, which the way I treat people is how we were taught when we were little. Treat someone the way you want to be treated. And because of how I started in real estate, I'm trying to treat our clients the way I wanted to be treated when I was looking for a home.
It's been several years, a decade now, of you essentially running a team. What has been maybe a moment that stands out to you in your brain where you've just wanted to rip all of your hair out? If you can talk about anything like that, and how did you move through it and get through to the other side?
Yeah. I'd say the worst experience that not only made me want to rip my hair out, I had anxiety because of it. I was just not happy. I couldn't focus. Was honestly having the wrong people on the team. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't know how to deal with it because, again, we were not taught how to run a business, hire and fire, all of those things. I had to learn it as I was going, I guess. And I learned from my mistakes. But yeah, having the wrong person on the team was the worst for me. That made me want to pull my hair out every day during that time.
then where is, if you could give it an advice for somebody who maybe is a team leader or looking to be a team and they're not sure how to deal with that, what's the sign that made you say, okay, I got to stop? And how would you give that advice to somebody?
The sign, I got to stop with that person.
Like, yeah, or whatever. I got to make a change. Something's not right.
Mm-hmm. To me, I would describe it as if it becomes a cancer that could spread and basically damage all the other cells around it that you took care of and nourished and built all these years. You need to get rid of it.
Now you have a good flowing team. Everybody is together
Best
and
team.
happy. You have the best team. What is one thing that you talk about your team and you say the best thing? What is something that just makes you really proud of the team?
Wow, so many things though. I'm very proud how the team, obviously the first most important thing to me, how they treat others, our clients, other people in the industry, and each other as well. I love how our team and our team members are always ready to help each other, always have my back, whether they agree or not, always have the client's first and best interest at heart. Positive energy everywhere we go. We have great presence everywhere we go. So even if I'm not in that room and one of our multiple team members are in that room, I know they represent us well. And that makes me so proud.
Yeah. And now you have representation in Tampa. Tell me about the Legacy Group, the team that you've started down there. What was the moment that made you want to go do it?
I'll make a long story short. My family and I took a vacation right after, before COVID, sorry. So I think it was 2020, early 2020. And it was a last minute vacation and we rented this Airbnb right on the ocean. We had arrived in the afternoon and we said, you know what, we're just going to lay down for a little bit, then get up and shower and go to dinner. And we all sort of some laid on the couch, some laid on the bed in our clothes, really. And we had the sliding doors open. And with the breeze and the sound of the ocean, we all fell asleep till the next morning. We didn't even have dinner. Mm-hmm. And I woke up, I looked at my husband, I remember tearing and saying, I need to own a property on the ocean. So that's how it kind of started. So in 2020, COVID happened, right? Later that year. And I don't know about you, but it was not mentally healthy for me. So as soon as things opened up a little bit, I went to Florida, impulse bought a property on the ocean. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is my happy place. It's going to make me happy. And as I started going back and forth, I started realizing, hey, a lot of the people who are here or buying here are people from our areas. And I get along so well with them and I love it here. And it'll give me an excuse if I open a team here to, visit more often and still be able to service our clients from Buffalo in Tampa as well. And other realtors clients who maybe are not in Florida, but we're friends with here in Buffalo. So it was a crazy idea 5 years ago. And I finally pulled the trigger on it. And I honestly couldn't be happier. It's taken off. And I'm looking to start growing that team as well.
How do you balance two completely different markets? The Buffalo market, the Florida market, it's different. How do you balance it within the team?
Mm-hmm. You already know this, but I am huge on time blocking and making sure I have designated times in my calendars for certain things. So I have, and I'm pretty disciplined with my schedule, unless something I need to be flexible with. Of course, we have to have that flexibility sometimes. But I designate time where I'm going to be working on Florida things. I designate time where I'm going to be working on Buffalo team things. Designate time where I'm going to be face-to-face with clients and time when I'm not working. And I even fit in my workouts and family time as well. And as you know, I'm very social. So I also honestly designate time for friends as well.
Which is good. I mean, friends always want to travel and go to Florida, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I don't know about you, but my friends love to ask me, what have you seen in a house lately? Do you have any, funny stories to tell me? Mm-hmm. I have so many, I know, and I've only been in this business coming up on 4 years. What is that go-to story that you have that just lives in your brain rent-free?
So many, of course, and some are funny, some are sad. And some can be inappropriate. I'll put it at that. Especially when you're showing your home to the public, getting photographed online, and therefore, so and so forth. So sometimes it's difficult to have those conversations with people. But I would say the one that really just I'm like, I can't believe this. Like, this can't be real. I had a listing in somewhere in the city, and when we went down to the basement, I'm looking at the furnace. And I see a pink plastic fan hooked up to the furnace. So I'm trying to understand what's going on over there. And I asked the question. I said, how old is the furnace? So he tells me, and I was like, do you have it serviced? He's like, yeah, I service it all the time. I was like, okay. And I'm like, can you tell me more about this? And I pointed at the fan. He's like, yeah, well, the fan broke on the furnace. So, basically his DUI job was to install a little pink plastic, room fan to the furnace. Thankfully, it didn't melt, but it was definitely a fire hazard. And I can never get that picture out of my head because I'm like, how did someone live in that home? Luckily for them, nothing happened, but it is a major, major fire hazard, obviously. And we couldn't sell a house or market a house with a plastic fan in the furnace. So, yeah.
You mentioned sad because as our job goes, we do enter into a rather personal point in people's lives. So we really see them in all different levels. Tell me about a deal that maybe wasn't like super glamorous. It wasn't like what you see selling Sunset or anything of the sort, but it made you feel like it was the most glamorous thing to you.
Yeah. Some situations honestly bring tears to my eyes, and I get super involved in the whole story and in wanting to help that person in every way possible beyond just the real estate transaction of it. But I remember meeting this beautiful soul lady, and her husband had just died a year before, and she has a few children that are grown and out of the house, and she just couldn't do the stairs in the house anymore. It was too big. It was a lot of maintenance and too costly for her to maintain. And we're sitting at the table talking, and she just looked at me and started crying. She said, this is so hard for me. My husband and I both work 2 jobs to be able to afford this home for our kids and raise them here. And I just honestly bawled my eyes right in that moment, and I was like, don't worry, I will help you. It's going to be a new chapter. We almost have to be counselors in some cases, and we were able to help her sell that home, go into more of an assisted situation. And at the end of the day, after she settled in and everything, she's very, very happy. I stayed in touch with her. So she's very, very happy. She actually looks like she came back to life a little bit, having people to socialize with and just easier everyday chores on her. So just getting people to move from one chapter to another could be very, difficult sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely is. For this next one, so I'll tell you mine. We, of course, we'll be showing a house, and we have to, of course, be, professional and tough and seem like we're not, again, we're focused.
We're not frazzled by
what
we're seeing.
We're not frazzled by anything that we're seeing. What is one thing that no matter what you see in a house that gives you like the heebie-jeebies? For me, mine, I can see spiders. I can walk through all the cobwebs. I can see, mice in the traps or whatever it may be. But if I see one of the millipedes with all the legs, I'm done. I completely shut down.
What's
funny. Yours?
Oh my gosh. For me, maybe I can deal with the spiders and a few other things. No, I can't do the mice. I'm sorry. I can't do the mice. And I had one time actually opened up a property to show to a client, and I can see the bugs jumping off the carpet, and I couldn't do it. And I just looked at him and I said, I'm so sorry. I will not be going into this home. If you still want to see it, be my guest. I'll be outside. I had to. Thankfully, he's a good client of mine. He completely understood, and he did it. But I wouldn't do it. Yeah. I couldn't do it.
I'm sure you have seen all sorts of stuff, especially with the winters that exist here in Buffalo. I mean, frozen pipes, bursted pipes, flooded basements, sump pumps that have failed. Have you ever walked into a house and just taken in something and you just basically are going through everything in your mind and thinking like, this is so bad?
I'll tell you what, it wasn't a showing. It was a final walkthrough. I sold a pretty sizable home in a very nice neighborhood, upscale neighborhood. And we did the final walkthrough. Everything was great. The same day as the closing. They went to closing, got their keys after closing, came home to their new home, and called me in a panic and said there's water everywhere. And I was at dinner with my family, actually. So I left immediately. I said, sorry, guys. Bless my family. They understood. And I left and I went there. What had happened was, because the house was vacant, water pressure, when we did the final walkthrough and opened the water in the sink to see if it's leaking underneath it and closed it and left, something happened with the water pressure to the house. And and it was summertime, by the way, that whole pipe under the sink bursted. And apparently it was basically a tornado of water on the first floor and going down to the basement, finished basement, mind you. So all the hardwood floors were ruined on the first floor, the cabinets, the basement. They couldn't move into their new home. We had to find them a rental. We had to fight insurance. And whose insurance did we fight? Seller or buyer? When did it exactly happen? Right after closing or right before closing? Yeah. It was a big to-do. That was the worst experience I've ever had with that.
Yeah, absolutely is.
So, Austyn, you asked me all the questions.
I did.
Before we end our segment today, why don't you tell me a little bit about you, or tell our listeners a little bit about you, who you are, what's your background, and what are you currently doing?
Well, I have a degree in broadcast journalism. So this was something that was pretty easy for me because I spent a lot of time and energy into doing this. But I have been working with you now for coming up on 4 years, which is crazy. Gonna have to renew my license again. But really,
it go by fast.
Yes, it does. My biggest thing and my goal is just to be able to help buyers or sellers navigate this process and try to make it as stress-free as possible for them. Working with first-time home buyers, there is nothing better than making them take that picture with the sold sign and telling them you did it, you bought this house, because it's the biggest purchase that you'll make at any point in your life. Buying a house is one of the biggest purchases that you'll make. And then on the other side, selling it is also one of the biggest deals as well, because there are so many things that go into it, both sides. So that's it. It's my, I can't even say it's a 9 to 5 because it's a 24/7, 365, this job. But
it definitely is.
You learn something new every single day. No deal is the same. And that is one thing that I love and respect about this career is that if you feel you're stagnant, you're doing something wrong.
And you're always able to adapt, which I love that about you as well.
You have to. They say sink or swim, and you're basically always swimming with a weighted vest. So yeah, you really have to be prepared to swim in this career.
Now you're becoming known for your social media, highlighting different things in the community, and also having a whole different take on social media. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you on socials and how they can be contacting you?
Yeah. Instagram is just House Huntin' with Austyn. So hunting, no G, and Austyn with a Y. But I don't know, you get free reign, and it's a fun way to show off different businesses and restaurants in the community, which is something I really love.
And what's your phone number?
It's 716-984-8904.
Thank you, Austyn.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Realtors Unfiltered, where real estate meets reality. If you're ready to buy, sell, or explore joining our team, visit us at enaslatifsalesteam.com. Until next time, keep it real.